robots will be so developed that we won't know whether we're speaking with a human or a robot.
Technology has progressed, but it hasn't reached the level of being practical yet. But the hope is that it will be practical.
Jikku Jose, the founder of StoryBrain, the one which won the top spot in the Singularity University Global Impact Challenge and was incubated in Silicon Valley. The very passionate and excited soul on future technologies, I must say. Welcome, Jikku Jose. Let's discuss on the superpowers.
Thank you everyone, and thank you Deepu and FAYA for this opportunity. And I'm here standing with a presentation on generative AI. Anup actually started with a discussion on ChatGPT and similar technologies. I'm actually trying to take a peek into what all we can actually do with generative AI. And I'm trying to make it as less technical as possible, and going to do a very short one. In fact, I wanted to tell something that Deepu requested me while wanting to do this presentation. He wanted me to excite the audience with this presentation. I tried to do that, but while preparing it, I didn't find this very exciting, but a little scary. That's why I changed the name like this. And as opposed to both the previous speakers, I have a little negative sort of an angle on what is actually going to happen. I think that will sort of balance it out and actually give way to discussions. I'm not a very negative person or anything, but I'm just going to actually show another side of this whole thing. Let's start.
This is Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory. Welcome to Evolve India, the 100th event of FAYA Port 80. Check out the generative AI talk from the guys at StoryBrain. It's pretty good. They discuss how I can render clips like this.
Obviously, what you saw is generated. One of my team members just sent this to me today morning and said, you should probably start with this. And initially, I didn't actually sleep very properly yesterday. And when I saw this, did actually Sheldon say something about Kerala? Then I saw this again and then realized, oh, this guy is just created this, I think in a few minutes, I believe. So this is the world that we are going to live in. Whatever we see, whatever we read, might not be true. And as Anup has recently mentioned, whatever you actually see or read, that might actually sound very authentic, might not be. And let's see what all is actually in store for us. ChatGPT is just the start. So I wanted to start at the very beginning, a very core concept that many of you might know, but I wanted to start here. So basically, technology progresses as S-curves. What it means is we have a slow growth where people will dismiss this saying, hey, I know this will not reach anywhere. And at some point, it will start a hockey stick growth. At that point, people will get so shocked at what is happening, and then it plateaus off. And then people will say that nothing big is going to happen from this. And the next S-curve starts. Every single technology that has grown exponentially, including processors, including AI, and everything takes this S-curve. So let's actually take a look at the AI S-curve. So AI actually started at around 1960s when handwriting recognition and voice recognition was being attempted. We really don't know at what point in the AI development we are in. We could be in the very beginning. We could be probably reaching the top. I don't know. But this is my perspective. I could be wrong. This is approximately where we are. From 1960 onwards, we have been making very, very small progresses, some useful, good. Nobody was excited, but around 4 to 5 years back, we started hearing certain things that were staggering. So this whole thing of this shocking hyped up things that came from AI started with something that was released by Google in 2017, Transformers. There was a paper that was released, all you need is attention. That is where it started. After that, in 2015, there was another company called OpenAI that started working with different AI things. They took up this idea and refined it, and they brought out GPT. The first one came back in 2019, and you know what happened last December when ChatGPT came out. Now, let me actually show you 4 interesting things that blew my mind when I actually started. All of this are using one or the other variation of GPT. Obviously, ChatGPT, it has been discussed. I'm not going into that. But have you heard of character.ai? Have anybody used it? Okay, I believe very few. If you haven't, I request you to go and check it out today itself. Because this actually shocked me to a point where I'll tell you a small story. My wife reads a lot of books. She's non-technical. She's like, when I talk about these crazy stuff, she's like, oh yeah, big deal. This will not work, and so on and so forth. So I showed her Character AI. What it can do is, you can choose any popular celebrity. Let's say, you want to talk with Albert Einstein. You want to talk with a major actor. You want to talk with your favorite author. You just choose there and you start talking. So since my wife reads a lot of books, I asked her, choose your favorite author and try talking to her. So she said, I know these might be taken from articles and the responses will come like that, right? And I told, no, try it. She didn't listen. I forced her. I made her try this. And she talked to J.K. Rowling. The first question, she wanted to break my, my hype. So she asks the question, I know that, hey, how is your married life? Something like that. So the system responded, oh, I have a beautiful married life. My husband loves me, and so on and so forth. And she started laughing. This is crap, because she had a very bad married life. And I told, no, it can't be. It can't be wrong. She said, what is wrong with you tech people? It could go wrong. So I told her, ask her one more time. Like, are you sure? So she asked, no, I know that your married life is bad. You know what she responded? The system said, And she said, frankly, I don't want to talk about it. My wife, who was actually making fun of me, actually sat in the chair and started listening. What? And the model started responding. That was my first marriage. I don't want to talk about it, but since you insisted, this is what happened. He was very abusive. Actually, my wife got shocked and ended up talking with that model for the last 2 to 3 hours and started talking with different authors. And I said, what is wrong with you? This was what Character AI can do. So I just want you to actually give it a try. Take your own personal experience to actually go and try it out. There are brilliant things that are actually happening in this space. Third one that I wanted to say is Copilot. Many people might have actually discussed about this, but I really want to, I'm guilty of this. Even though I am completely immersed in this tech, I didn't use this till like last few weeks. My team were using this for the last 6 months. Amal famously has been using this for the last 6 months, and he has been a paid user of this. And I said, why are you using this exactly? And he said, I don't code that much. You don't really understand this, right? Then I said, what do you mean? Then I checked up, recently I saw an article that says, people who are using Copilot, do you know how much percentage of Git code or the code that is committed is done by Copilot? Anybody, any idea? Any guesses? Any guesses? It is approximately 40%. It is staggering. I actually fell out of my chair actually thinking that 40% of the code that you are actually committing is actually done by Git Copilot if you are actually working on that. And the last one that I wanted to actually say, in case anybody doesn't know, is Codium. Codium is actually free. It's a competitor of GitHub Copilot. I request you to at least try GitHub Copilot or Codium. I'll just show you one example of how GitHub Copilot works. If you have integrated that into your browser, take a look at this. You don't know anything about programming. You write one comment on top. I want to validate a phone number. Then you start off the function saying validate phone. You require a very complicated regular expression that most people who have done this know. You copy it from somewhere and paste it over there. You don't have to do it anymore. This is one of the simplest things that you can do with it. What was possible with this, when I started using it, it blew my mind, and it still blows my mind. So I strongly suggest you to actually take a look at it. Now, this specific slide I added in the morning because I happened to see a tweet about this. Take a look at the timeline and take a look at it closely. This is staggering. If you are not shocked by this, I don't think you actually understand what this is. BioGPT is a model that can ask or answer your questions about your physiology. You can talk to this system just like you're actually talking with a doctor or something like that. And the line that you see, that red line, is human performance. We crossed human performance approximately in December. No big deal, right? Now a doctor and this thing is similar. But do you know what actually happened on Jan 2023? That is 1 month from there. It actually became somewhere in the range of 81. Do you know what will happen in 1 year? The way at which this is progressing is staggering. So this is one of the things that I wanted to say. But somebody mentioned that, but still, this is not understanding language. And I completely agree with it. This is not AGI, not even close, or artificial general intelligence. What it does is just predicting the next word, but it does ridiculously good. That's all. It doesn't know, or it doesn't even have an idea of what fever is, what a thing is, nothing. It doesn't. But the point is, it has read it so many times that the next word, the probability of the next word is so good. That is how it works. So let's actually go into and shift gears into another class of models. We were talking about something called sequence generators or temporal data generators or AIs that are based on that. We are actually switching gears to something where it is processing a grid-based data or a two-dimensional data. So from here onwards, something similar to what happened in RNN or the previous GPT came about in these models. It is called diffusion models. And interestingly, 3 major competitors are actually in play for this specific thing. And I would like to say, my engineering director actually told something this September, I believe. He saw Stability AI and made a remark. Probably in a year, we will have excellent quality images wherein you can actually see a proper video coming out of this. And I said, not a year, probably 2 years, right? You know what happened? 3 weeks after that, somebody updated this model and we were generating images and videos with this. We can't, right now, even though I'm immersed in this, I can't actually process the breakneck pace at which this is progressing. This is staggering. That is the reason why I wanted to actually show some examples. So bear with me. The next few slides are going to be examples of the bleeding edge of this technology. So let's actually start with what is the state of things where you can actually generate 3D from image synthesis. What do you think? I believe somebody in this group might have actually known how to actually create 3D assets. You need to actually create something like a 3D model in a Blender or something like that. It takes days, if not hours, by an expert to create a 3D model. Take a look at what is happening here. By the way, this is real time. This is the state of the art right now. And it looks very bad, right? Most people will actually see the model is so bad it can't be used. But this is the first version. You saw what happened with the second version, third version of other things. And it will not require years. It may require months, but most probably it might require only weeks. I'm not sure whether you have heard of the channel 2-Minute Papers. There's an interesting thing that the speaker says, this is the law of papers. What will happen a few papers down? That is exactly the state of what is actually happening. So let's take a look at what is happening with voice cloning. I think exactly like Anish, he was actually speaking, the state of true data that is completely gone from our world. I will actually show you the effectiveness of this tech.
For you, not as an expert, but as a concerned citizen.
One of the 400,000 people who marched in the streets of New York on Sunday.
And the billions of others around the world who want to solve our climate crisis.
As an actor, I pretend for a living. I play fictitious characters, often solving fictitious problems.
I believe that mankind has looked at climate change in that same way, as if it were a fiction.
As if pretending that climate change wasn't real would somehow make it go away. But I think we all know better than that now.
So this is the sort of tech that we have right now. What you're going to see here and understand is no longer going to be something that you can trust. It's better to assume that everything that you are going to see is potentially manipulated by AI in some way or form. So now let's take a look at VR. I hope you have all heard of VR. What is interesting about this is VR required a lot of time and effort and money to create a virtual world. And obviously it is a very high-end tech. What can a generative model do with that? Take a look at what is done. Think about what you saw there. Whatever that you actually saw was something that was actually created in minutes. An experience like this would have taken a massive team months, if not years, to actually create. This sort of a thing can be on-demand generated right now. What it means is, imagine you have seen a movie and you really love the beautiful beaches or the mountains over there. And you just took a few photos of that and you put it in the system and said that, hey, I want to go to that same place. But you know what? I don't want the trees over there. I want banana trees there. Fine. But I also want deers there. Fine. And I also need dolphins. Fine. Think about experiences like this. Every single person who you have actually dreamt about a place that might actually relate with you, probably from your past and so on and so forth. All those places you're going to visit at no cost. And the next one, this is very new, and I'm very passionate about this because this is completely open source. And I'm very happy to say that the guy who actually created this did this as a side project in a weekend. I repeat, he did this as a side project in a weekend. Take a look at this.
In this AI video, I'm using ControlNet to reskin this living room to different styles of Indian decor. On the left, you see the input, which is a 3D scan I made using photogrammetry, and on the right, you see the final output. Here are different ControlNet methods. The left uses edge detection, so it does really well with the paintings. The right uses depth, so it does really well with the furniture. As always, the best results are obtained when you combine these techniques together.
What these sort of a technique will actually provide us, imagine you know a story that you really love, and you don't know the camera or you don't know expensive video editing tools that is required to create a movie. That will not be required any longer. Imagine you have a story that is beautiful, that you want to actually say, but you don't have the money, time or effort to do it. In probably 1 year from now, that will not be the case. If you are a good storyteller, you will probably be able to make what you actually saw in your mind a reality. Now, one more thing, just to show you the significance of a commercial utilization of what we are actually seeing.
Now we're stuck on this stupid tower in the middle of nowhere. And I don't blame you, and now we're stuck on this stupid freaking tower in the middle of freaking nowhere. And it's all my fault.
軽蔑してるよね。仕方ないよ。
Y es todo por mi culpa.
Take a look at this. You might have all seen a Tamil movie that was poorly dubbed in Malayalam, and you might have actually laughed. None of that is going to happen in the future. Create a movie and it will be beautifully dubbed in every language in the world, probably into hundreds of languages, and your content will travel much more farther and wider. Now, I wanted to, there is very few information about this, but this is going to be a very important thing in our context. That's why I'm actually adding this. So Facebook's parent company Meta recently brought out a paper for something called Toolformer. This is very interesting, and this is going to be staggering. What it can do is, it is something similar to ChatGPT, but instead of it able to provide you generative text, it is able to do or make your tools work. For instance, take a look, think about this. You want to book an air ticket. You want to go to the site, log in, and then book the ticket, put in your credit card information, and then book it. Tool Transformer, at a point, just like you are asking for ChatGPT, hey, what do you think is the time of travel from, let's say, Trivandrum to Delhi? You could actually say, book me a ticket from Trivandrum to Delhi on 3rd or 4th at the cheapest cost, maybe when it lands in the morning. And it will actually choose you the best ticket that is possible, completely on your side. Now, I believe at least some of you who have a little bit of experience in programming might see where this is actually going. This is precisely hitting at the heart of RPA, robotic process automation. They have created systems where systems can be automated like this. Now, once something like this comes in, a huge amount of things can be automated instantly, completely decimating that industry. Let's see how that industry will cope up. So let's actually say this is something that Deepu last time mentioned. You shouldn't be saying this on stage, but I'm sorry, Deepu, I have to say this at least now. I said this last around for the 50th edition of FAYA also, but I'm actually coming and saying, this is serious. There are 1.4 million people working in BPOs in India right now. There are 4.2 million people working in BPOs all around the world. This industry is gone. If anybody thinks otherwise, I'm sorry, you are not living in reality. It's very serious. And if you actually take a count in Technopark, you are probably looking at around 10 to 15,000 people depending on this industry. It's a huge change that is going to happen. And we are going to face this reality very soon. Now, I'm going to give you some perspectives on what I feel, and this is going to be a little controversial, but it's fine. Debu, I don't think I can excite, but I can scare people. So I'm going to start off with that. So what I feel, what is actually happening at the AI right now is a Gutenberg moment. I believe you know what is Gutenberg, right? Gutenberg is the person who created the printing press, the first printing press. Do you know what exactly happened during that time? Somebody created printing press. So what, right? It happened in 1400s. In Europe, it actually created a religious/political movement that even caused wars, completely transformed Europe. The Reformation movement was actually the key thing that actually triggered it was this. The religion split, politics split, everything changed because of this. This is going to happen. This is the same sort of impact that is going to happen with ChatGPT and similar tech. So I'm going to be a little take a little bit of a hyperbole here. People will ask, so what? What exactly is going to happen? So I'm going to give you some very weird and out there thoughts or my fears on what is going to happen. There is a huge regulatory legal battle that is going to happen right now. Somebody mentioned about legal aspect of how this can actually be used. But do you know that the content that is used to train this, most of it came from open data sources, but not all. How do you attribute to the people who actually created it? How do you do that? This war is just going to start. Now, before going into the geopolitics, and that is a huge hyperbole, let me actually come to the industry. You saw a couple of industries that is going to be completely decimated. There is no way a person can actually hope to expect to doing BPO jobs 1 year from now. It's impossible. That's gone. Now, let me actually talk about the next one. My family told you shouldn't be talking about this in public, but I wanted to say, because this is an angle that we should actually think about. How can ChatGPT cause a war? How can the AI that is actually happening cause a war? Can anybody give me any ideas around this? I mean, real war with guns, people killing each other. This sort of a war. Can you think about it? I'm not talking about a rhetoric question, or I'm not talking about a mythical question here. Actual war. Let me actually ask you this. Think about this for a moment. If ChatGPT was released on December 2nd, 2022, don't you think that tech was available for the biggest governments of our world at least 1 year before? Any questions? Any doubts on that? No. What would they use it for? Do you think that they will ask it to generate a string reversal? Do you think that it will ask for generating marketing materials? Do you really think that it will be? They will ask existential questions about it? I think they are going to ask certain questions that will fundamentally destabilize another country or a competitive country. Let me give you an example. I'm not naming any countries. I'm quite scared right now. So let's just say country A and country B. Okay? Okay, no. Country P and country Q. Okay? So country P asks military GPT this question. List me 10 strategic points where I can hit the country Q economically so that you can destabilize their internal systems with minimum amount of capital and least amount of money or least chance of getting detected. Think about this. If it can capture, if you were ever shocked by what ChatGPT has ever done to you, think about an uncurtailed ChatGPT. I believe, as Mr. Ambika has mentioned and others mentioned, we are having a curtailed model. It will not cuss back at you. It will not tell you that guy is bad. It will just say, I'm sorry, that is very sensitive to answer, right? But that is not the reality. Think about an uncurtailed model that will answer questions right in front of you. No, you are an idiot. This is not how it is done. This is how it is done. Think about a model like that. Think about a model like that giving you 25 different ways to attack the country Q economically, culturally, and politically, without even firing a single bullet. Think about destabilizing a country. Think about, imagine now, assume the Q is a big company. It will finally understand, okay, this is what is happening. Think about a country Z, which doesn't have any technical background like this. And this is what is happening right now. I think, I'm not giving you examples. Maybe if anybody is interested, we can actually. No, I'm a little scared now. Then after this, if anybody is interested, we'll come and no, I'm really scared. I'm not joking. I'm really scared now. So I have been talking about this for a while now. I haven't introduced myself. My name is Jikku and I'm the CEO of StoryBrain. We are completely immersed into technologies like this, and we are working on a very specific technology right now. And I'll just introduce you in 2 slides what we do. So we are a company that converts product pages into video feeds. You have seen Amazon or Flipkart and so on and so forth. You end up reading a complete page. It takes 1 or 2 minutes. Once we integrate with these major companies, you're no longer going to read anything. You're going to see a feed just like Instagram and then click a button to buy. Let's actually take a look at this. This is your typical Amazon page that you see right now. You have some images, you have some information. Let's take a look at what our AI actually sees after scanning this and what it can actually bring about. It actually scans and finds the relevant information and then creates a video right off the bat. This solution is being discussed with the major retailers in India right now, and hopefully by the end of this year, at least 30% of all product pages that you're going to see, you will see a video like this. Let's see. So most people will be thinking, you said a lot of things. So what do we do? What can we do to actually defend, or what can we do right now? I have some perspectives. Probably it's going to be wrong, but hey, I'm anyway talking. I'll just give you some perspectives. So this is the first thing that I wanted all of you to acknowledge. Whatever we know, it's gone. The world as we know it no longer exists. It's completely gone. We have to take a different perspective to understand what is actually happening. Second, don't worry, your jobs are never going to be taken by an AI, but it will definitely be taken by a person who is using an AI, for sure. So if you're not using it, you can assume what will happen. And the third one, this is what I feel is going to happen in the next 10 years. The world is going to ferociously align towards the curious. Last, I will stop with this quote by Freya Stark. Curiosity is the one thing invisible in nature. Thanks a lot for your time and attention. Bye-bye.